Thanks to our great sponsors, Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, Cumberland Valley, National Bank, CSEP, State Farm Insurance, Jerry Goble Agent, Luxury Pet Services, Equipment, Sales and Rentals, May Marketing, KYmedia.net, Real Life Community Church, Time Warner Cable, and Madison County Schools.
Welcome to the Coach John Clark Show.
Run!
Hi, I'm Samantha Burford with Madison County School Sports Television. We want you to watch the head coach John Clark Show of Madison Southern Eagles.
If you want to learn about these guys, tune in to Madison County School Sports Television. Let's go!
Welcome back to the Coach John Clark Show. I am Samantha Burford. We're here at Cumberland Valley National Bank. We're in their conference room today, Coach, so we're in a little bit different location. Yeah. It is Saturday morning right after last night's game, and I'm just going to start the show out with, I'm going to do a little dance because you guys are 3-0. Yeah, what about it?
We're excited. I mean, it feels good. It's better than being 0-3.
You weren't expecting me to dance on the show today, were you?
No. It's fun to wake up Saturday morning. Even when it's early, it's fun to wake up with a win. I mean, every coach in America and every player in the country prefers to wake up after a win.
And it is a big football weekend, start of some college football teams. So they're all playing, so it's feeling like football weather outside. So how about you guys being 3-0? And it was let's just start back with last week, beating Gary County.
Very big win for our program.
You had the big Death Valley Bowl win over Lincoln County. Then you had Gary County. Big. You guys had never
in the history of the school. I think it was 14 losses straight. Went back and did the research. One of our former players, Logan Terry, who's now actually he's at Paris Island with the Marines right now. Actually,
okay.
He spent the winter with me compiling Southern's record versus all opponents. Since the program has started.
Okay, he had a lot of time. That took a lot of time.
Yeah, we did that in the winter, though. But, I mean, that's what you have to do when you're kind of building a tradition. Nobody had ever done that before.
Okay.
So we looked back, and Southern had never beaten Garrett. I'd always heard that, but we never had.
Okay.
And it was 14 straight losses. So we had heard that before, but, the Rockcastle had kept track of that game. Central had kept track of that game.
Yes.
Nobody had really kept complete tabs on Garrett. We just kind of heard that. So seeing those, when you go and you put in the history of all those years and the scores and you start to look at it and you're sitting there going, how does this happen? How do you go 15 games or 14 games or 20 games?
And you play them about every year, yeah.
Constantly. I mean, it's a cross-county rival. I mean, they're the next county over.
Right.
So that was a big win for us, for our kids. It was like the win over Rockcastle. It was like the win over Central. Once you get over that hump. of we can't do it,
now you're
same thing I told my team. I said, we couldn't beat Rockcastle. We did it 2 years. We couldn't beat Central. Did it 2 years. And last year came down to the end of the game again.
Yes. Big game. Fun game.
I told our team, I said, somebody is going to do it. It will happen. Will it be you is the question.
Right.
But it will happen. Nothing lasts forever. So I was pretty excited. And that game meant as much to me of any game. I think back to games in our program that have really stood out to me over the years. And, our win at Harlan County in 2013 was a monumental win for our football team. Our win at Rockcastle that year, our win against Central. Those were monumental wins. Our first home playoff win in 2012 when we beat Perry County Central out here by 1 point. And Southern hadn't won a playoff game in, I think it was 8 or 9 years. I mean, that was huge. So this win was up there. The reason I think it was so special for me too is the difference in our boys from week 1 to week 2 was like watching a boy grow into a man. I mean, it was a huge amount of progress in a week. And I think if you were to take a poll with coaches across the United States, I think you would find out that the biggest improvements tend to come in a short time from game 1 to game 2. And if you don't have those improvements, then it's kind of a concern. Last year we were improving in that time frame, but not near at the rate we did that past week. And
See, I would
we
have
were a
never have
completely
expected
different
that.
team on the field from the
Okay.
Death Valley Bowl to Garrett County. We were a different team on the field, and it was apparent in our body language, our confidence, our physicality on the field,
Okay.
our execution, the way we handled ourselves throughout the whole game. It felt like we were a playoff team against Garrett County. Against Lincoln County, I felt like it was the first game of the year with some new faces on the field, and this could be rough.
Okay.
So it just had a whole different feel to it.
Well, it's really exciting. You guys, I want to say, well, we do want to let everybody know Coach Clark
Yeah, I
isn't feeling
apologize.
well. He's got a little scruffiness
I feel-
going on
I feel
of his
great.
voice.
I've been sick this week, so
Yeah, so we do appreciate
and
you
half my
being
team
here.
as well. So
Well, that makes the win even more special
Yeah.
because they're playing through it. And it is the change of the season. I mean, it's a lot of allergies, but we're back to school, so everybody's
carrying it. Yeah.
germ nation.
It really is.
Anyway, so back to this. You guys ran out on the field after the Garrett County game. Was there any implications after that? Everybody was fine with that? I mean,
Oh, yeah, I
typically,
mean-
you don't typically do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so.
but you know what? When we beat, I think back to other games, like in 2013, we went to Southwestern and we beat Southwestern at their
Yeah.
home in our district opener. And that was the first time Southwestern had lost at home in like 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And we stormed the field and we took a team picture afterwards. And I remember their coach thought that was disrespectful. But honestly, it had nothing to do with Southwestern. It had everything to do with the growth of our program and our school. That's one of the things I love about Madison Southern. I mean, I love a lot of things, but our students have rallied around this team. Our student section has been amazing.
Yes.
The energy in our building, the pep club is growing. This is a different school feel than it was 5 years ago. It's better. It's athletes get along better across all sports. Students are supporting each other more than has ever happened. So when we stormed the field, I loved it.
Okay.
It never crossed my mind that it wasn't okay. But
Okay.
to me, it had nothing to do with being disrespectful to Garrett.
To Garrett.
I mean, they've beat us 14 games straight. To me, it had to do with our kids and our school celebrating an accomplishment. And I tell our players all the time, and I hope our kids in the building are the same way, when you do things well, you have a right to celebrate. There's a difference between pointing at somebody else and taunting them and enjoying your successes. And I think it's important that they do that. So I was in there with them.
You're okay with it.
Yeah, I was in there with them.
Yeah.
I was celebrating with them too, so I was excited about it.
As well, and well deserved. All right, so let's roll right into last night's game. Big congratulations.
Thank you.
40-0. My word that I want to use, and we'll get to your word of the week because I know we always discuss that, but my word that I want to call this team is consistent. Wow, between defense, offense, I mean, special teams, there wasn't anything that
We're pretty well rounded.
I'm letting you
right
roll
now.
with
We're
it.
pretty well rounded. Rare for being good teams can do this early in the year. We've been consistent in the past. We've not been consistent until the end of the season. It always took us, and it has to do with the developmental process. When your youth league's not very good, and the middle schools are finally split and they're still growing and learning. Every year when we've gotten freshmen, we've had numerous conversations about this we
Yes.
have on the show, that as freshmen you're merging two schools and they're not being taught some of the same things. And,
Right, so you gotta
and
teach 'em.
It's like starting
Over.
every year with
Yes,
freshmen.
and we always
it's-
talk about
and
that.
it's not a knock on the middle school programs. It's just if they're not teaching things the exact same way that you are or the same as each other, when we get them as freshmen, it's completely starting over to get them on our page. And so it's almost like there's a process from freshman, sophomore to junior to senior year to really get everybody where we want them. So when we have junior and senior heavy teams, as the season gets going, they start to click and merge to what they are. It takes a couple years because we don't have them every day all year like a college does.
Right.
You know, you have your off-season workout program, but you can't do football during that time. Per the KHSA rules, you can work out. So we're getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster. But the football savvy stuff has just taken 6 years to get to this point. What's fun about it now is we're doing things on the field week 3 that we used to not do till week 8. We're starting
A little sooner.
It's starting to learn faster. They're starting to absorb it quicker. They're starting to learn more in the middle schools now. We're starting to get them sooner. Like our 8th graders come to me in January now.
Okay.
When they're not doing other sports, I get them in our weight room in January. So our current freshman team, I think there's 27 of them. We had 20 of them in the weight room with us in January. Now, they're not going to, it doesn't mean you're going to be great as freshmen,
Right.
but
It
by
sets
your
the
junior
precedence,
year,
right.
you've added another 6 months to your training cycle. You're ahead 6 more months.
Right.
And it's like football. It's a game of inches. Well, when it comes to physical development, it's a time thing. The sooner you start, if you're physically capable, if you're mature enough physically, the sooner you begin the process the right way, the faster you get to being the big, strong athlete on the field. So it's all starting to, it's taken 6 years. Now, we've had some teams that have been good in the past. You think back to our 2013 season of first. That team went 10-2 and played for the region. We had a really good football team. This team is faster across the board. They're physically stronger in the weight room.
I was going to say that.
Now, there were some unbelievable individual players on that team. But across the board, we weren't playing 31 guys on defense that year. We had our top 14 players played a lot of football. When we started our first scrimmage against Somerset, we had 9 guys playing both ways.
That's incredible.
We had 9 guys starting.
That's hard to
both
keep
ways.
their legs.
And, and as a staff, we made a decision this spring. After spring ball, we said if we played Cove Catholic last year in the playoffs. That's a real deal team, and they're beating teams in Ohio right now.
Yes.
If we're going to ever compete at that level, we have to do the things that we need to do. Well, one is you can't. Very few. Now I'm not going to say you can't. We can't. There's very few teams. Pulaski was an exception that play a lot of kids both ways. They're going to go to a state championship. In the 5 and 6A, it's hard to do that.
Exactly.
All right. And for us, we need to get to where there's fewer guys starting on both sides of the ball. We had 9 against Somerset. I think we were at 4 Friday night. So last night, I think 4 guys started on both sides of the ball. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's 4 guys.
Okay.
So maybe 5.
I'm sitting here trying to, as you talk, I'm rolling them off in my head.
5, but we're transitioning to where we're slowly getting to fewer guys having to be the guy
On both sides of the ball.
So you think about it as you're a player. If you have to run the camera and do the
Right,
interview,
right.
you're not going to do one of them the same.
Right.
You can put all your effort into it, but something has got to give.
Well, and by the fourth quarter, it's exhausting.
Absolutely. And we found that out against Cove Catholic last year. Their D-line was so fresh. It was 14-7 going into the fourth quarter. And in 28-7, we couldn't hang with them anymore because we were exhausted. So we knew early on we may take some lumps playing some younger guys, but they need that experience. We've got to continue to be disciplined as a coaching staff and rotate players in.
I felt like your team watching them last night, of course, it was your first home game. To me, it seemed like they were in great shape.
We are in better shape than I thought we were. Now, I will say this. Coming out of our Somerset scrimmage and our Lincoln County bowl game, I felt like I'd failed. To me, whether your team is in shape or not is on the head coach, period. It is my job to make sure my team is in shape. We were dying when we played Somerset.
Well, it was 105 down in a hole.
And you know what? Looking back on it now, we probably freaked out a little too much, but it was one of the most humid. We played at Whitley County a few years back, and it was extreme. They delayed the start of the game. It was the hottest, most humid game I've ever been a part of. Somerset was like that. The Lincoln County game was similar to that.
Yes.
Garrett was pretty hot and humid.
Yes.
But we really stepped up our conditioning, and I think we needed to. I don't think we were in game shape yet, but I thought we were in better shape than we were in those first couple games. So I even told the team, I said, this is on me. I apologized to them. I said, we are going to condition differently for the next couple weeks. And there's not a high school kid in America that likes to hear that.
No, I don't even like to hear that.
You can love cross country and conditioning doesn't sound fun. All right. So, but they knew it's what we had to do. That's what I love about this team is yes, sir, let's go do it. And I said, you got to push yourselves too, because one of the things about conditioning that a lot of people don't realize with kids is I can run you 100-meter dashes, but if you jog them all, it doesn't matter. If you run 10 of them as hard as you can, is better than running 100 of them jogging.
Yes.
So they really have to push their limits during conditioning. I challenged them to do that, and they've done that. And last night, we had a lot of juice in the tank still at the end of the game.
Yes.
And it's a little cooler out. We've got guys not playing both ways. And our legs, I didn't have anybody that didn't have fresh legs in the fourth quarter. So that was really exciting.
Yeah. And in the press box, that's what we were all discussing, that how it seemed like And of course, you rotated in and out a lot.
Yeah, and we're subbing a lot of
defensively.
guys, and we are
Yes.
on offense too. We played 7 different linemen throughout the process of the game before we even subbed in our other guys. We're playing about 6 different running backs. I think we had 5 different guys catch the football last night. So we are a by
Got 'em all in.
committee football team.
Yes.
Absolutely. We
So-
have a lot of young guys playing special teams. And in the past, we've tried to do that, but it's not been very successful. We have a lot of young guys sprinkled in with starters, so some of our starters that are playing both ways get a breather on special teams.
Yes.
And these young guys are coming through.
Yes.
It makes a big difference.
Well, you guys completely shut down their Richardson kid.
Robinson.
Robinson
Yeah.
kid. Wandell.
Wandell, very, very good
Robinson.
football player.
There we go. Sophomore.
Yes.
Big star.
He's an up-and-comer. I'm telling you, he's the most explosive young player I've seen in this state in a long time.
Yeah.
He's got a chance to be special. He really does.
Well, and I was going to say, apparently he already is special. I mean, but you guys.
You know, it's funny. The first play they had on offense.
Yeah, he had the ball.
I mean, our whole game plan was.
Stop him.
And I said this to the paper last night. I said, I never understood why people kept giving us the ball back when we had Damian. Like, why? Why would you try to score fast? Why would you kick off to us? Like, why?
Yes.
Like, he averaged 14 yards a carry. He had like 120 touchdowns in 4 years. Like, why would you give that
Right.
kid
Why
the
wouldn't
ball?
you? Right.
I would never give that kid the
Right.
ball after
Let's
seeing
keep the
what I
ball.
saw. Yeah. So we went into this game and we're watching this kid play and we're going, he's the real deal. We cannot give him the football. So we receive, we score. We onside, we get it back. We scored again, but it got called back.
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt like that touchdown was when the momentum started to shift in the football game. When we scored that touchdown, even though it got called back, we were rolling.
Yes.
And our kids didn't tank. They were like, we got this.
Yes.
And then they get the ball back, and he takes the first play of the game, 65 yards,
Yeah.
which we knew, and nobody freaked out because we told our kids, he's going to have big plays. But, you know,
Yes.
we look,
You have to be ready for
the
them.
thing that we saw on the field,
Trying to think
though,
who stopped him too.
here's,
AJ.
AJ. First time that kid's been caught all year.
Richardson.
You know, talk about effort. AJ ran down a kid that runs a 4.4 from across the field. That tackle was the game changer.
Yes, I agree.
That tackle changed the football
Yeah.
game.
I think
His
everybody would
effort
agree with
to
you.
run that kid down did 2
And he
things.
didn't stop.
One is they were all going, whoa, they've got some kids that can catch him. And for us, it was, you're going to have to do a lot more to get in our end zone. I mean, it was a huge, huge psychological thing. And then the next play, Dez picks it and takes it. Sean Dez Goodlow, I think it was 95 yards.
Yes.
And I've got to check this morning. I got to get online and check our records. I mean, that may be a school record for an interception for a touchdown. I don't know.
I didn't think about that.
So I thought about that right away. I thought, man, I'd love to put his name in the record book. It'd be
Yes.
awesome. So
He would love that, too.
I've got to check
Good
that this
kid.
morning. But what a return, too.
Yes.
I mean, we've got a caravan downfield blocking for him. It is constant effort to the whistle by our guys
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, you guys never stopped. It was impressive last night.
It makes it
and a
neat.
fun game as a fan to watch.
Good. And
The parents were behind you the
team
entire game.
dynamic is
There were
outstanding.
bells a ringing. I mean, did you hear them? Can you hear them up there?
No, but
Can you hear the parents
I'll tell you
ringing?
what, though, for the first time in a long time in my career, like I usually don't hear much. I hear our student section.
You do.
And I
Okay.
love that. I hear
Okay.
them after Carter ran for the first down on that extra point. I hear them chanting Carter Smith. It gives me chills, actually.
So you can hear all that. Okay.
I hear
Because I know
them-
you have the headphones and everything else, and you're calling the plays.
I hear them when they specifically call out names of our players.
Okay.
And I think that is awesome.
Okay.
It shows me they're engaged in the game. And I just think, I mean, how cool is it that our kids in our school are supporting each other like
Yes.
that? I just think it's really neat.
It is really
And
neat.
our school needed that after this week.
Yeah.
You know, they needed that
Yes.
that type of
Yes.
bonded together Friday night feel that things are okay.
Yeah, it's been, for those of you that don't know, you guys had a student
Mm-hmm.
that passed away, went into shock, I guess, from
Mm-hmm.
a bee sting. So, right, it's been a tough week, and I'm sure you guys have had all
It
the
has.
counselors there.
And, you know, regardless of how many of your players are friends with someone or not, I mean, you've got kids, you know how it is. Teenagers, we were the same way. You're invincible. And then when something like
Yes.
that happens, it really pulls you back to reality of like, this is life. Like life can be taken away from me. It's not about this phone in my hand. It's not like where I go after a game on Friday night and whether or not my parents let me is not really that important. Whether or not my boyfriend or girlfriend likes my shoes is not that important. It all comes back to like there's a it's hard at that age. They can't see the forest for the tree right in front of their face, and sometimes a thing like that really, and they're different when those things happen. Like it was a different kind of week. You have conversations with kids that you haven't had before because they're thinking about things. And, one of my players comes to me and he had a class with him. Didn't know him very well, but the seat was empty.
Yeah.
And reality sets in with them that like, hey, this is real, and they handled it well. I think our school handled it very well. It just it's a sad thing, and
it is,
and
it's nice to see the entire, a moment of silence and everybody.
Yeah. You just hate it, we've been so blessed at our school. We're in 6 years now. And we have 80 kids on our football team consistently. You take 6 times 80, was that 400, and you're looking at 500 kids almost. So statistically, over time, the longer you're at a school and the more kids you have, tragedy is going to strike. Car accidents, and my wife and I talk about it all the time. This thing that scares me the most is we just talk about how blessed and fortunate we've been with our boys on our team, and that. So, you hate to see things like that.
Yeah.
But statistically, they're gonna happen.
Well, it's nice that everyone was there supporting the team, supporting that family, and the win. People don't realize it, but sporting events and a rally like that really can be uplifting and motivating, and it gives everybody a reason to come together.
I want to share something with you, and I think this is, I don't talk much about conversations I ever have with my administration. It kind of stays with us, and there's a reason I took the job when I did. Something that was said to me by David Gillen when he was the principal in Madison Southern, when we had our second conversation, really told me this is the right place for me to go. Because from an outsider looking in at the Madison Southern job at the time, they weren't supporting athletics. Like, you get that feeling. And then my biggest thing with the job was, are we going to have the support we need to carry out the mission the way I have the mission laid out? And I've had that 100%. Our administration, I'm on my third principal in 6 years, and everybody has been supportive. They're still supportive. They care. They're at games. I can't say enough about our administration. But David Gillen looked at me and he said, it's so important to me to have a good football season because when our kids come back to school, the first thing that happens in a school year is a Friday night football game. And if it is the right atmosphere and if it is a successful process, it can change the dynamic of your entire school year in a building. And that to me was like, he gets it.
Yeah.
Like, this guy understands this is more than just.
He's one of your biggest fans, too. He's at every game.
I love him. And
he was there last night.
But it just meant the world to me to know that, like, a lot of people think that, there's the academic side of school and then there's sports. But those of us that truly understand sports know they're one and the same. Taking physical education out of a school is a major, major mistake. You can build things in sports. Our kids' grades are better than they've ever been, and they wouldn't be that way if it wasn't for the athletics. If I ever have a kid tell me they have to quit the team because of academics, I know they're looking for an excuse because we hold them to a standard that they're not held to otherwise.
Right.
It teaches them accountability. They have to time manage.
I was going to say time management, all the above.
They have to be committed to something when everybody else is out doing something else. They have to see through to their commitment. It's like being married and having a family. You're committed. There's so many things that play together. So when I heard him say that, that to me, and that's been the case, and I feel it this year.
Yeah.
Our school dynamic in our building is a great place to be right now. And it's been that way, but there's a different feel. They're selling tickets for games at lunch. Kids are buying them. Kids are wanting to know, how am I going to get to the game Friday night? And they're talking about rides and is there going to be a pep bus? And kids are wanting to wear the school colors, and there's themes for games for more fun for the kids. And I have teachers coming to me during the week, and asking me, what can we do to help the atmosphere on Friday night? I had a teacher send me an email about the game Friday night. First time in my entire 6 years I had a teacher send me an email early in the week. She had previously taught at a school where she had one of Western Hills players in elementary, and told me a little bit about the young man, good athlete. You probably know. Never had that. Like, it's starting to, I sat there and I read that email and I thought, this is pretty neat.
Yeah.
And she probably thought she was bothering me, but to me, that was a big deal because people are thinking about our game Friday night during the week. It's not just us in school anymore. It's becoming one.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that story. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that's special. And, you always let us into part of your world when we do these interviews.
Yeah.
And I think people and your fans and parents, grandparents, everybody gets to know you a little better. So I think that's fantastic, because I think you have such a wonderful program, and it's always building.
It's exciting,
Yeah.
and this year our staff dynamic has never been better.
Yeah.
By year 6 it should be that way, or I should be fired. There should be an evolution of your program within your staff too.
Yeah.
And we're there. We know on Friday night who's going to make the call on what, and I trust my staff 110%. What Kevin Kling has done with our defense, and it has been unbelievable. And what Jimmy Skinner's doing with our offense. Our offense isn't the same as it's been every year, but it's doing similar things.
Well, you've had to change, and you've had to
for
revise.
personnel, we didn't have a tight end like we've had in the past, and to really do what we wanted to do, we had to make some change. And he has absolutely just taken that and morphed it to our personnel, and our kids know it, and it's good, it's working. And Ben Colbert, what he does with special teams, man.
Wow. Can we just shout out to them for last night's game?
Last night we blocked a punt. We get a first down on
A long list.
On a
2 onside
on
kicks.
a punt. We recovered 2 onside kicks. Our goal going into the game was we were not going to let number 1 touch the ball on a kickoff return. And if we had a chance if we ever ended up in a punt situation, we weren't going to give the kid the ball.
Right.
You can't. And then we thought, he came to me during the week, and he comes to me during the week every week and says, all right, we go through the special team stuff. He says, we've got this, and this, and this. And I give him 100% freedom. And I know it's weird if you're up by 30 and you onside kick, but I hate that. When I'm a coach, if we're losing by 40 points and the other team onside kicks, I get pretty angry.
You do, okay.
All right? But at the same time, I don't know their motives. I just know we're getting beat, and I'm probably pretty unhappy about that. And I know that it seems like a jerk move.
Right.
Our motives are never jerk
To be a
move.
jerk.
That's our game plan going into a game. We stick to our game plan. We don't call a play we haven't practiced during the week. Well, we didn't practice kicking deep this week. We worked onside kicks this week.
So you performed onside
because of
kicks.
Things we thought we could do. We worked punt block this week because we thought we had an advantage on it. So when they punt, we're going to go for it. That's just what we've worked. And there's times where we can make some modifications to that, but I give him full reign to do those things. And I tell you what else it does. Our players know going into a game, and I think they know our personality. They know my personality. I'm not a very laid-back guy. As you know pretty well. If I see a chance to go get something, we're not going to wait. I'm a take-it type of personality. Right. My whole staff is that way. So our kids, I think they like that. They know on special teams, they fight to get on special teams because they know special teams isn't just we're going to kick it out of the end zone and jog down the field. They know I have a chance to make a game-changing play on special teams. And they when we put the depth chart up during the week, they are just competitive, bothering us to get on the field for special teams, and that's awesome.
Well, I respect and appreciate that you're it's either black or white. There's no gray for you, and I appreciate that in the media, that when we talk, there's no gray area. I know how you stand on it, and I think parents and your players especially respect that.
Yeah, I used to be no gray at all.
Are you a little more gray?
Definitely.
Is it up here?
No. Yeah, I'm losing it there. It's not gray. I'm just losing it. No, but I used to be, when I first came here, I was we're going to do it my way. This is the right way, and this is how we're going to do it. And I've evolved and become a better coach. One is, since I've had my own children, it's completely changed me as a coach. And I worried it would make me less of a coach because I had a family I had to put time into.
Right.
And Kevin
Time
Clinton told
management.
me when that came around, Kevin told me, you will be a better coach because you have children. And he's right. Because having children, you understand things completely different than you don't when you don't. Like, I know things about children now that I didn't when I didn't have my own. It's absolutely made me better. It's also
You see their side of it a little
and I'm a
differently.
parent
And
now.
right.
I have kids in sports. So I understand my parents
when
better.
they ask you questions,
I have no problem having a conversation with a parent about their child. And I used to hate those things. But you know what? I'm okay
you understand
with that.
why now.
You know, I'll tell you something I did this year. This was pretty neat. We went to an FCA camp in Black Mountain, North Carolina this summer, the coaches camp. My family went. Just unbelievable experience to get to do that. And that's a whole nother conversation what that was. But I sat in on a talk with a gentleman who is he speaks all over the country on communication. He's a communications guy, and he was talking about his son was having a bad experience with his coaches, and he was trying to meet with his coach, and his coach wouldn't give him the time of day. And he's sitting there going, my son's putting all his time and effort into this, and I can be the best asset for this coach to help him fix what my son needs done if this coach would just take
Communicate
a minute
with me.
to just have a conversation with me. And so I spent a lot of time talking to this guy because I really felt like it's an area that I need to be better. And I know I'm not the most easy to talk to right away kind of person, and I come across very overbearing, but it's something I've been trying to work on is being a better communicator with my kids' parents. And so something I did, and he gave me this idea, and I was a little nervous about it first. I gave every parent in my program this summer, I asked them to either write me a letter or email me something that our staff can do, something about their child that would help us coach them better.
I think that's a
Something
great
that
idea.
we needed to know about their kid that would really help us interact with them better, understand them better, or coach them better.
Did you get a lot of responses?
Oh my gosh. And the responses, smartest thing I've ever done.
Really?
Some of the things we were told were just eye-opening. Just, we talk as coaches all the time. You have to treat them all fair, but you can't treat them all the same because kids aren't the
They're
same.
not. And you don't know what happens when they go home.
And home is totally, 30 years ago, everybody had the similar home. You had mom, you had dad, and dinner was on the table, and you ate as a family, and everybody worked.
You did your homework,
and,
you went to bed.
And you know what? The way everybody treated each other wasn't the same, but there was a lot of stability that was similar. Now it's totally different. And their situations aren't the same.
Right.
And their confidence levels aren't the same. And their understanding of what's okay and not is not the same. It's different. So you're always looking for how to motivate a kid. Does this kid need a foot in his rear end? Some need screamed at. Some need screamed at. And some parents said, you've got to get into my kid to get more out of them. You need to yell at my kid. And some kids need loved on. Some kids need to have a conversation once a week to get things off their chest so they're not thinking about other stuff.
Okay.
Some kids need to see the big picture.
And
Instead
I would
of
assume
just-
if you yelled at some kids, they would retreat.
There's
They
some
would,
kids that our coaches know that if you get into them too much, we will lose them.
yeah.
They'll fade. And there's some kids that we know you have to do that whether you want to do it or not because it's what gets their attention and they can handle it and they
Right.
grow from it. So using the parents as an avenue to find those buttons a little better helped dramatically.
I think that's
And my staff, we
fantastic.
passed those around and everybody read them. We had a stack of them and had emails I forwarded to guys. I mean, it was really, really interesting. And, there's two players I can think off of the top of my head. Their parents may never know this, and the players don't know this, but their development has been monumental since August to now because of information their parents gave us about it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It really helped.
All right, Coach, let's take a quick break because
Yeah.
I have a long list of
Sorry,
players.
I know we've gotten into all kinds of stuff this morning.
We have a long list of players that we need to talk about because they're watching. So they want to hear what you're going to say about
They're
them.
watching their film from last night.
Well, and then they'll watch you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break.
Thanks to our great sponsors, Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, Cumberland Valley National Bank, CSEP, State Farm Insurance, Jerry Goble Agent, Luxury Pet Services, Equipment, Sales and Rentals, May Marketing, KYmedia.net, Real Life Community Church, Time Warner Cable, and Madison County Schools.
Welcome back to the Coach John Clark Show. I'm Samantha Burford. We are here today at Cumberland Valley National Bank. It's a little bit of different scenery. Usually we're up there by the tellers. And
this is nice. I have a table for my coffee Saturday morning.
Yeah, this Saturday morning, right after the game. Coach Clark, it's all fresh in your memory.
Yeah.
We do want to remind everybody watching that you can watch last night's game. You can watch it. We shot it live last night.
Yep.
So if you were at home and couldn't make it to the game, which there was,
crowd was amazing.
Lots of fans. So
Eagle Nation is in full effect right now. It felt like a playoff game from a couple of years ago. I loved it.
So if you want to go back and rewatch the game, or you didn't get to go, maybe you had to work something, you can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on Madison County School Sports Television.com or on our Facebook, MCS TV on Facebook. So lots of ways to watch it.
Crowd though was amazing.
It was.
I told my wife last night I always go see her she sits in a certain place. And I always go and see her before the game and give her a kiss before the game with the kids. And it's funny, like when we first started doing that, there was like a couple chairs there. Now there's like 3 rows of people where she is, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, there's like people everywhere.
There was. Even the end zone. You guys had a lot. You have some new signs. You got a new big sign, scoreboard.
Sarah Smith is our booster president. She does an amazing job with going out and just chasing sponsorship. And, honestly, this was the first year we didn't have to do a whole lot of chasing. People in the community came to us. And, I mean, it's a little bit of money for a sign, but they don't know how far that money really goes. We feed our boys Thursdays. We feed them Fridays. And some of our kids, those are the best meals they get during the week, and the equipment that it takes to continually keep 85 kids in proper equipment, and we're going to need new freshman jerseys next year. They're not as good a quality and they're really wearing down. So all those sponsorship dollars, we stretch them out and we spend every dime of it on the kids. And it's just, it's an important thing.
Right. Well,
but they look great, don't they? The way they set them up on the field now.
They
It's
do.
like a
It kind of
stadium
feels,
setting.
yes, that's
It's
a good
awesome.
way to say it. And it's really nice. And, I mean, nice visuals right
really
there.
is.
I mean,
She
I
did
like
a great
it.
job with those.
I like it. All right. So let's move on because the men, they're wanting to know what you're going to say about them. And we have a lot of guys to talk about. We want to keep your show a little shorter. We have been rambling on and on, myself included, because this is the first time we've really, since the season started, we got to get together.
Recap, don't we?
Yeah, so we really do. So that's kind of nice. But you do have a home game next week against Bourbon County. So we'll get to have a show after that as well. So I'm pretty excited about that, to get together again. Maybe the show will be a little shorter because
I'll have to stop talking so much. I'm pretty excited about
no, that's
this
the
football
goal. We
team.
want you to talk a lot. This isn't about me. This is about you and your team. So let's talk. Who do you want to start with? You want to talk about your new starting quarterback?
Yeah, Landon Stacy. I know he's played the last 2 years. This is knowing this spring, we went to him and said, "Listen, this is your team now." He's been in a split role. Aaron Sloan was more of a drop back. Landon was more of a running back quarterback type. And a lot of people don't know this about Landon. Landon played fullback in middle school at Ferristown. He was not a middle school quarterback. He was a fullback.
Okay.
And I remember when he was working out with us in the off season, coming in senior year, coming into his freshman year, just athletically, I'd seen him run the ball. He was a good physical runner. I remember Coach Eads came to me, and Coach Eads and his son have been playing together a while, and we really weren't sure who was going to be the quarterback of that group. And he said, "I think this kid could be a good quarterback." And so thanks to H.E. Eads, we pulled Landon and said, we're going to work you out as a quarterback. You can always go back to running back.
Right.
And just right away saw a ton of potential in him.
Wow.
And his development as a thrower, as a decision maker, what Jimmy Skinner has done with him is he just continues to progress and progress. I mean, he makes great decisions with the ball. He's reading coverages. He's reading fronts. Like when we run option, we don't predetermine who gets the ball. Landon makes those decisions on the go.
Okay.
A lot of teams will predetermine if they give it, if they're going to pitch it.
Send the call
We
in.
run 6 different option plays. You're reading 6 different things
And he's
on those
making the
plays,
decision.
And he does all of that on his own.
Okay.
And you can't practice all that a lot during a week to get it all in.
Right.
And then he's dropping back, he's rolling out. We ask him to do a lot, and he does it outstanding.
Yes.
Made some good decisions last night. Last night I saw him roll out. He had a defender in his face. He pump faked, pulled it down, avoided him, pulled back up, and made a nice throw to AJ.
Yeah.
And that's just something we haven't seen in the past. It's been a run or throw.
Yeah.
Just his decision making, I just love. And my favorite thing about Landon, and I told you in the game last night, he wanted to break the huddle and score.
Yes.
He's so competitive. He gets fired up when he does things well. He takes the play to the huddle with the total purpose of scoring on that play. And
Every play.
I love the way he commands his team. Love it.
Okay, good. Let's move right on into AJ.
AJ's playing really well. He's a very, very good running back. He had that touchdown.
He got your first touchdown last night. Yep.
We're trying to get the ball in his hands a little more. Now, our offense is set up in a way that we're trying to touch the ball with a lot of different guys. He is a guy that we always say he needs more touches, but he's also a very good corner. Very good corner. He is a shutdown corner on defense. So it's hard to play him both ways the whole game. We've been spelling him a little bit more on offense. But we'll always work to put the ball in his hands more. He does great things when he has the ball in his hands. He's blocking on the perimeter. He's a good football player. He's bigger than people think too. He's 6 foot. He's getting looked at by some schools.
Good.
AJ's got the potential to play at the next level, and I just think he's going to whatever. He thing I love about AJ. He may have 2 carries in a game. He may have 15. He's going to be consistent with the effort he gives you on those plays.
Every time.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Nate Eads. He had that 30-yard TD.
Nate's a great pass catcher out of the backfield. We like to throw the ball to him. Nate runs hard. I think he's got 2 receiving touchdowns now in the last 2 games. Nate also plays safety for us. He's kind of a captain of the secondary. He gets them all where they need to be. Makes sure we're identifying stuff. He's the director back there. We've limited him on offense a lot lately because Nate's been having cramp issues with the heat. He is very dense muscle-wise. He does not have a lot of body fat, and he's a very muscular kid.
Yeah.
So Nate, early in the season, the last 2 years, he tends to struggle with cramps. Last night was the first time he's made it through a full game 4 quarters. So that was a huge deal.
That is.
So when we start to get Nate 4 quarters, and what a great leader he is on the team as well. He's consistent with his efforts. He's a hard-nosed kid.
Let's talk about your fullback, Justice Williams.
Justice is a guard.
Oh, a guard.
And the D lineman that we put at fullback at times.
Okay.
And Justice had his first
2
carries.
yards.
His first 2 carries ever last night were 2 touchdowns.
Okay, because we were discussing that before you got here, and I was like, fullback. I was like, why don't I remember that? That's why I don't remember that.
Justice, I coached in college before I was at Southern.
Yes.
Justice Williams is a college fullback. I believe that.
Okay.
Or a D lineman. And he's being recruited by a variety of schools. If Justice is 6'3", he probably goes where he wants to go. He's not 6'3", though. This kid, he power cleans 305 pounds. He is an all-state wrestler, all-state shot put. He is Mr. Everything. He sings in the church choir. He is a team captain. He is a straight-A student. He is that all-American kid.
Yeah, he's somebody you want your daughter to date.
He is. He is an amazing young man. He is an amazing young man. And I've always said if we had the guys up front, imagine what we could do with him in the backfield. Because he's 245 pounds that can run and has great feet. And he can catch the ball too. He worked out for a couple colleges this summer at camps at the fullback position.
Okay.
Last year he played there as a blocker in the red zone, and they liked what they saw, and they're like, he's not going to be big enough to play guard at the next level, which he plays for us.
Yes.
But they're sitting there going, if we could see him back there a little more.
Yeah.
Well, we're starting to develop some young linemen in a sense to where we have some packages where we're getting him in the backfield more and put the ball in his hands. And it's just awesome to watch him run. He's good at it. He's really good at it.
I would think he would enjoy being the fullback.
I think he enjoys it too. But the great thing about Justice is he's the kind of kid when he scores that touchdown, he's like doing it as the line guy, not as like the running back guy.
Yeah.
That to him is like a big deal for the line.
I can get that.
But,
I totally
the
see that.
The whole team was pretty excited for that, and he's extremely physical, so he's not a fun kid to tackle.
Let's move into Carter Smith.
Carter's playing great. Had a huge run. I think he led us in rushing. I haven't checked. We haven't finalized stats. We do that stuff today and tomorrow.
I had him, third, I think, in tackles.
Yeah,
But
I know he
far as
ran the ball
defense-
really well last night. He's all over the field. He does everything. He blocked a punt. He ran for a first down.
Yeah.
You know, on that first down he ran for on that punt, that's his option. That's an option play.
Okay.
He has the option to do several things on that play. And we talked about before the game, we hadn't called it this year, but we've been working it. I just told him, I said, we give you that option for a reason. We trust you. Do what you do.
Yeah.
And when he ran for that first down, it was exciting. I love when you let a player, I love giving the players a chance to do what they need to do. And he does that. He's a great football player. He's so fun to watch, and he gets better every week. And people forget we have him another year.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a junior.
No, I'm sure it makes you excited.
He's just a junior.
It makes you excited. Let's talk about David Williams.
David Williams.
I have that he had 21 tackles just in the first 2 games.
He's a tackling machine right now. David Williams, I think he had 13 tackles against Garrett. He's our smaller linebacker, but he is the most technically sound of all of them. He just does what he's coached to do. If Coach Kling looks at him and says, you take these steps and you read this key and you do this when you get to the ball, he will do it in that order, but faster. He is a machine. It's tunnel vision with his focus on how he does things. And he's also, I'll tell you another thing about David. David's playing tight end for us, about 10 snaps a game. He's got a couple catches. He's got a touchdown. I think they called him down on the 1 last night, if I remember correct, on that. But he is blocking well. He's catching the ball. He's doing a lot of great things.
Yeah.
A lot of great things.
Well, we got to talk about Dez.
Dez has played a lot last year.
Yeah.
Dez has been kind of in the shadow of Peyton Skidmore.
Yes.
Peyton was in Damian. We've always had a big play capability guy like that. Dez was the next one we felt like he's so quick, he's so mobile, he's little, he can slide through gaps. And it's just been a matter of getting Dez to know that Dez can be that guy. And last night.
So you knew he could run that 95-yard.
We have done so much to put the ball in Dez's hands. And we know with Dez, it's been a matter of Dez believing in Dez the way the coaches believe in Dez.
Do you think after last night, Dez now believes?
Yeah, I mean, how could he not? He's catching the ball.
Yeah.
He's making first downs. That intercept. I mean, you saw that run back. I mean, he's breaking tackles. He's up the sideline. His speed. He is a football player, and we're going to continue to do things to put the ball in his hands.
Good.
And he's a really good corner. He plays well defensively as well.
Yeah. All right, I want to make sure I say this kid's name right. Brennan
Bertrand.
Okay, I didn't want to mess up his last
Great
name.
story, and you don't want to keep this long, but I could talk about this guy forever.
Okay, we'll make that another show. But
Brennan tore his ACL, all right, in his sophomore year. And then last year, he spent the whole year coming back from that ACL injury. And a lot of kids in high school, when they do that, they hang it up. He's always been capable of big plays. We had an inter-squad scrimmage this time last year during our bye week. This was a bye week for us last year. We didn't play Western Hills. And he scored. He single-handedly, for the team he played on, we split the kids in teams and played a game, practice one day. He scored like 16 points for his team like right away. Like he scored a touchdown, and then he scored the extra point, and then he had a pick six. And like we were like, oh my gosh. But his knee would swell, and it was inconsistencies. Against Pulaski, he had like a 35-yard touchdown run, I think it was, or a 35-yard run, like a big play against Pulaski. We've always known he's capable of it. I challenged him this spring. We sat down after spring ball and said, with you, it's been inconsistency. And it's that had a lot to do with his knee.
Right.
That hurts their confidence.
Yes.
And physically, it holds them back because he had swelling and tightness.
Yes.
And so he's been like this. Since spring, and we've talked, Brennan Bertrand has just done this. He's ran the ball great against Garrett County. I think he had 13 tackles against Garrett County.
I have him as your second person in tackles.
He's making plays.
He made an interception and a fumble recovery against Garrett.
Yeah, and he just continues, and he's a lot like David. You tell him what to do, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
He's going to do it to the best of his abilities.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's fun to talk about all these kids. Okay, the one thing that I do want to mention too is that, because I think this is unbelievable information, you guys in the first quarter kept the ball 10 out of 12 minutes.
That was the plan. So,
I have more kids to talk
I mean,
about.
you go into a game with a plan. I mean, a lot of teams probably have played us with that plan over the last several years, and then next thing you know, it doesn't work that way, and you have the ball 2 minutes. The plan was to control the ball the whole first half, and you have to take chances if you want to do that. But the plan's the plan for a reason. You
Right.
take chances to make your plan work in life.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And even the drive that we scored on, that it got called back, and then they ended up getting the ball, we still ate up. And we said that as a staff on the headsets. We said that to the team. We're like, this was a good drive. We are eating up clock right now. And we know what we're getting, so we know we can score.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. That was exciting to see. You know, it's as a coach, you spend all week planning, and it never seems to go.
And it doesn't go the way you want it to.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question quickly. Before our halftime interview, you said to the official, you got help clean it up.
Yeah. I wish you hadn't asked me that.
Well, we can skip it.
I just
Was it verbal?
no.
No, it wasn't. Just
I mean,
nastiness
look back
out
through
there.
our football games for the last 5 years. All right, how many times do we cheap shot guys?
Right.
I don't allow that.
Well, that's what I meant
And
by
our players-
nastiness.
Our players know that.
Yeah.
And we don't. We talk about it constantly. Play the game the way it's supposed to be
Yeah.
played. Respect the game. It was here before us. It'll be here long after us. We got to leave it the way we found it. And I believe that. And I've never not been this way. If I see one of my players do something cheap, they're coming out of the game, and I'll suspend them and not think twice. It's big to me. We don't play that way. Now, I'm
Right.
not going to say that we haven't shoved back once or twice, emotions get into it, but here's what I do know. When you as a coach are seeing cheap shots, like, for example, when you're blocking a guy, you see your guy blocking a guy, and their guy takes his hand and hits him in the chin and purposely rips his helmet off his head, and you see the helmet go flying, I have a problem with that.
Yes.
And the film confirmed that this morning. I got up at 5 a.m. and watched some of those plays, and I'm going to send them in. I'm not okay with that. The officials, it's supposed to be about protecting the players. And I know they can't see everything.
Yes, right.
I know that. But when helmets are coming off,
Yeah, they
if you're on
should
the
see
bottom
that.
of a pile, a helmet can fall off. A running back
Right.
can get hit. But when you're engaged in blocks and your helmets are being ripped off,
Somebody's
something
teaching them to do
something
that.
needs to be noticed about that. And maybe they're not being taught that. I'm not saying they're teaching that. I'm just saying that's got to be taken care of. There were some other things, a rule that I need to be adamant about in the offseason is when you snap the ball, when your long snapper snaps or when your extra point snaps, the center is supposed to be uncovered and is not supposed to be hit. Because he is in a position where his neck is down and it is a safety purpose. And our snapper was getting mowed over every single time on extra points. And finally I just said, listen, I said, if you're not going to call it, I'm going to stop going for two because you're putting my kid
In
in a
danger.
position to get hit in the back of the neck.
That could cause permanent
That's
damage.
not okay.
Right.
I have a problem with that when it comes to a safety issue. But,
His parents.
It wasn't being seen the same way, and
Okay.
I'm not the official.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
So it is.
I just
what
thought
it
I'd
is,
bring
but,
that up.
That stuff bothers me.
I know it
But,
does. I know. All right. Well, we'll move into
it's
Bourbon
okay.
County next
Yeah.
week.
Haven't had a chance to watch them a ton. It's 10 a.m. right now. I spend most of my Saturday. We clean up our game, watch our game, take our notes, and then we get into tomorrow. We'll be spent on Bourbon.
Yeah.
I know that they're 0-2, but I also know that Bourbon County has a good team every year. They have good athletes. I think that Coach Hodges is a good football coach. I like the way he does things. I think they lost some pretty good players last year. They had some guys that were seniors that we thought were outstanding players. And I thought last year we played well against them. They didn't play their best game against us. We felt like they were a little better than we even saw last year. So there's no doubt in my mind we will get a good game from Bourbon. And Coach Hodges, he's a good coach. He's not going to let them sit 0-2 and just lay down. They're going to play their best football game this coming Friday. And, we're going to continue to keep them around the next couple of years. Like we're doing a bowl game here next year. We're doing starting a bowl game at Southern, the Doc Sipple Memorial Bowl. We can talk more about that another time, but Bourbon's going to be a part of that bowl.
Good.
Which is, and I like that because I respect the way he does things.
Yes.
And I like the tradition of what they do at Bourbon County.
Okay.
I think it's a good game. I've liked keeping them on our
Yeah.
schedule.
We'll definitely talk about that in another show. That's
Yeah.
exciting. Whew. Did we get it all in?
I don't know. See, you get me on Saturday morning, I'm like in football mode on Saturday
Yeah!
morning. When you get me after practice one
And
day.
lots of caffeine.
Yeah, when you get me after practice one day, I'm like taking
Tired,
a nap. Yeah.
or
So-
dealt with school all day, and then players. Listen, it's been a fun show. We had 3 games to catch up on, so it's okay.
Excellent.
It's
And
all right.
I'm going to do what I teach my players to do. I want to take responsibility for this. because my players, I asked them to do the same thing. I apologize to everybody. I was late here this morning. They were waiting on me for 45 minutes because I completely forgot to be here because I woke up, I started watching film, fed the dog, started going, what am I going to do today? I'm going to watch Spencer Stone at Center College tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to go watch Center play. So I'm sitting there, and I totally forgot to be here. So
It's a good thing it wasn't live.
He brought us
apologize.
cupcakes, though.
Apologetic cupcakes. My wife is so smart. She's like, this will help.
Yeah, food always helps.
I'm sorry.
We can never
I'm
be
sorry I
mad.
did that to you guys on Saturday morning.
We can never be
That's
mad.
completely my fault.
Well, it's all right. Usually we shoot these shows during the week, but it is kind of fun on a Saturday. We get you fresh.
I like Saturday.
Because if we wait too long, you've already moved on to the next game.
Sometimes you talk about the game from Friday, and I forget what's going on because I've moved on to the next
That's
team.
why I make a lot of notes
I know.
for you and me.
You did a good job with your notes.
I made
today.
a lot of notes.
You did a good
It's
job.
a lot. So, but like I said,
Since everybody's going to see this early, Monday, Labor Day, if you have nothing to do, all right, which most of you are going to be grilling out, hanging out, we have a doubleheader here Monday evening against Scott County. Our freshmen play Scott
so you
County.
are going to play even though it's Labor Day.
Yeah.
I'm
We do
glad you
every
mentioned
year
that.
because it messes up the rotation of games in your
If you
conferences
don't.
if you don't.
Okay.
So our freshman team will host Scott County at 5 o'clock, and our JV will play to follow. So we'd love to have you come out. It'll be a fun evening of football. Scott County always has a great football team. It'll be a tough opponent for us, but I love the way our freshmen, they've worked really hard. They're starting to really develop. I'm excited about that group. There's some really talented guys, and I love the dynamic of that team. So merging them into this team is going to be a lot of fun over the next couple of years.
Good. That's exciting. All right, Coach, good luck Friday night against Bourbon County.
Thank you.
We will be there shooting the game live again as well. I want to remind everybody, they're telling me it won't be live. So it won't be live, but you can watch it afterwards.
okay.
But we did shoot
It'll be live at the game.
It will be live at
It'll
the
be
game.
real live here.
Right. And if you want to watch last night's big win against Western Hills, 40-0, and score of the game, I don't think we ever mentioned that. But if you do want to watch it, you can go back and watch it on Facebook under Madison County School Sports Television.
And one thing our pep club is doing a great job with this year is they've themed all our games. And something I'm going to do a better job is I'll make sure that the people that run our social media sites, our Facebook, our Twitter, we'll get that out, what the theme is for Friday nights. This theme's Friday night was America. We honored some veterans. Everybody was wearing red, white, and blue. They had balloons and the banners.
I saw that, yes.
They have a theme. I'm not sure what Bourbon's theme is.
Okay.
But there's some where they're really encouraging the elementary schools to come and support their schools and the middle schools, and we'll let everybody know what that is and try to see if the fans can't get involved with that with the students. I think that's awesome. It's a
I
lot
think
of
that's
fun.
fantastic. All right, Coach, I think we got it all in.
Awesome.
All right. Good luck Friday night.
Thank you.
And then after your win, we'll do the show open and you can dance. I did the dance
okay.
this week. You can dance
All right,
next week.
4-0 I'll do. If we're sitting at 4-0 next time we do the show, I'll do a dance. How's that sound?
Looks
I
good
don't
to
know
me.
if that'll really happen, but
It will happen. You know he's going to do it. All right. Thank you for watching. We want to thank Cumberland Valley National Bank because without them, we wouldn't be able to do this show and take over the conference
we couldn't
room.
cash
So
in on this opportunity without them.
that was a good one. I knew we'd have to get a bank joke in there somewhere. All right. Thank you for watching. And until next week, good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks to our great sponsors, Jack Burford Chevrolet, ExpressRoofing.net, Cumberland Valley National Bank, CSEP, State Farm Insurance, Jerry Goble Agent, Luxury Pet Services, Equipment, Sales and Rentals, May Marketing, KYMedia.net, Real Life Community Church, Time Warner Cable, and Madison County Schools.